Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for well, joining me into this particularly not so great video. But since everybody and their mom has made a video about this, or is probably going to make a video about this very hot debated topic, I shall do the deed and also talk about this. And we're probably going to talk about this for quite a bit, unless there's going to be some change here and there. For those of you who already have guessed, we're going to talk about the unfortunate, I gotta admit, delay of Lost Ark. Now, I did mention this in a couple streams, that I wouldn't be surprised if they were to delay it. I obviously didn't hope for it, because my plans were pretty laid out, and I was pretty confident in not bothering to do too much PvE content, especially newer PvE content on the Russian server, and just transition slowly into just PvP a little bit, then have a little bit of a downtime with the new world, and then go full force back into Lost Ark by the end of this year, which is unfortunately not gonna happen. Well, at least like the very little glimpse of light we have in this announcement is that we know when the closed beta is going to be, but that's also that's literally the only good thing. Anyways, I will quickly go over this announcement. There's also a tweet. If I'm not mistaken, the tweet pretty much tells the exact thing, though if I'm not mistaken it's probably the same thing what we just said. Okay, so back in June we held our closed technical alpha test by inviting testers to venture into Arkesia, experience this version of Lost Ark for the first time. Following the technical alpha, we have been working hard, translating walls of text, squashing bugs, spending long hours in the recording studio and preparing server infrastructure behind the scenes, while delving into all of the great feedback and data generated by our alpha and reviewing recent changes to the Korean version that we want to include in our release. I think this is something important. We discovered a lot more work that will be needed to launch Lost Ark at the high quality bar our players deserve. Players have been waiting for so long. We want to take the time to do it right, while also ensuring we look after the wellness of our hardworking Amazon Game System Smilegate RPG teams. With that in mind, we've made the tough decision to push the launch of Lost Ark to early 2022. So there's a couple things here. Now, I also watched Cyber's video in case you're interested. He was a lot more up in arms than I was, but like I said, I somewhat had the hunch that it will be delayed, but I didn't really want to cause a ruckus, and I couldn't put my finger on it, because for all I know it may have launched or would have launched this year, but now we know for certain that it doesn't. He especially talked about the squashing bugs. Now, what I think, at least in my personal opinion, I'm not trying to defend their terms or their means of communication, because I also agree that communication is a really bad side. Sure, they're trying to launch 2 MMORPGs as probably no publisher did before, but that doesn't really mean that they can't or couldn't communicate with this. I don't think this is something that has they didn't breed, or this decision wasn't born yesterday or at the Gamescom's look, we're gonna delay this. In my opinion, this is a wild guess though, whenever they pushed New World back by 1 month, I think at that moment it was also set very clearly internally that Lost Ark is going to be pushed back as well. Obviously, I'm not an Amazon employee. I don't know who's holding the strings, who's pulling the strings, if it's Amazon, if it's Smilegate, if it's both of them, doesn't matter. But I believe, like I said, this is just a guess, I have no proof and no data to back this up, that whenever they delayed when they delayed New World, it was kind of also following hand in hand that they were going to delay Lost Ark. Nobody really wanted it, but hey. That's the sad truth we are facing here. So I think though the biggest kicker here is that, at least with the delay, I'm fairly certain that we will get Tier 1 and Tier 2 revamps at the launch of the European and NA servers. But that's just what I'm reading here from them. Obviously, there's a lot of translating happening, voiceovers, all the localization stuff. That is a lot of work. However, it's also I gotta agree on Cyber's point there that the game is running in 3 regions now and has been tested very thoroughly. No game is bug-free, and Lost Ark is no difference, but I don't think they're having so many technical difficulties outside of the ones they introduced themselves, which may or may not be a lot. Hopefully it's not a lot, but that's just a shitty day to be a Lost Ark player looking to play on the global servers. Also, this one here, early 2022, is as vague as this can be. This can mean, at least in my definition, I'd say this can be January, February, even March would probably count as early 2022. Which, obviously, this is just another guess, but I assume, looking at the data and the timing of New World, for example, that the launch is gonna be scheduled, at least currently, for January. This is obviously a very beneficial, if we can even speak of benefits in that regard, in that scenario, which obviously would be a very nice and comfortable experience for us if they were to actually launch it in January, but I don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen with Lost Ark in Korea. We don't know how much they're gonna try to bring the Korean patches over from the get-go. So, like, we're definitely not gonna have a vanilla experience as you had on Russia, Korea, and Japan. We're gonna have something in between. What that is, I don't think anybody really knows at this point. Outside of that, this is the information we've pretty much been giving. I also think this kind of sucks because, like I said, I had a plan laid out for me. I even scheduled my vacations and everything around that. But all that is basically just thrown out the window. But yeah. Anyways, while we will be launching in early 2022, you won't have to wait until next year to get your hands on Lost Ark. Your closed beta test will be conducted from the November 4th to the November 9th, and your feedback will be an important part of the Lost Ark development process. Lost Ark's founder packs purchasers will have access to a closed beta, blah blah blah. Interested player can also sign up. So, we have a closed beta date. Now, first of all, that's a fairly short period. That's not even a week. Second of all, there's at least 6 to 7 weeks of downtime, even in the event that they're gonna launch on the 1st of January, which they won't ever do. But just assume that they would. There's still almost 2 months from closed beta to launch, which makes me believe that they actually are trying to revamp or restructure a lot of the game for them to need that many or like such a long time to fix things. The other guess that I could make is that they want to give New World enough time, which is something that I also said, which I think is more akin to the truth. They're gonna try and push, they're gonna try and milk, or I wouldn't say milk, but they're gonna try and establish New World as much as possible. And I can all repeat myself here. Amazon does not care about when they launch Lost Ark, because Lost Ark is a functioning product outside of squashing box and localization, obviously, that it doesn't really matter if they launch it in October, September, November, December. The game is going to function the same way. Obviously, the timing window is going to get worse. Don't get me wrong. The later or the more they wait releasing this, the more dated Lost Ark is going to be, and the wider the gap between all the other regions, especially the Russian region, though, and the NA and EU servers will be. At some point in the future, probably 2024, maybe, we're probably gonna have a somewhat similar state of most of the servers, but that's like 3 years into the future, and hell knows what the state of the game will be, what Smilegate has in plan for the game. Another game may come up. Lost Ark may go down to the... Nobody really knows what's gonna happen 3 years from now on. So, this is kind of a scary thought. I, for myself, don't really know how much I will invest into the Russian server, but I still will have my plans to play on the EU and the NA server, or the EU server, for that matter. So yeah. Anyways, let's continue to this. While we have been relatively quiet so far, we do want to improve the quality and frequency of our communications. Now, this is a big game because so far they have been there's way too much radio silence. Like, I think they should be communicating, not necessarily give like pinpoint exact data, But like I said, I think internally it was very obvious that Lost Ark is going to be delayed. They just didn't really want to give us the information because they probably fear the backlash, which they are obviously getting. But I don't think there is a better time. There's no good timing to release that kind of information anyway. So we're committed to staying more open with our players. This is really good. About what our team is working on. Moving forward, we will provide monthly updates to discuss the work our team is doing behind the scenes. In October, we'll launch our official forums and official Discord channel in preparation for the closed beta. In November, we will be fully operational to support our beta testers and content creators. With these upcoming activities, you should expect more activity and communication from us coming in the coming months. So there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of kind of mess stuff in here. Don't be fooled that they said that they will give us monthly updates. They just may post a second tweet or a third tweet each month saying, look, we're working on localization, and post a screenshot or something. This is maybe something that we're getting. Obviously, it's better than nothing, but I wouldn't hold my arms up too much in there. This here, I don't know who's using forums in 2021. At least the forums that I browsed typically were rather empty. So I don't really know if that's a thing, but at least they're launching it. The Discord channel, this is going to be interesting because I think the official Discord is going to be a very toxic and Cloud Fiesta-like place at the start. They will have to deal with a lot of shit talkers, and they will have to either have very strict and stringent rules, or good moderators that keep the people in check. Because I think the toxicity level in the official Lost Ark Discord is going to be relatively high at the start. It's going to cease once people actually calm down their nerves. But so far there isn't really any big outlet or anything in terms of all the stuff that people are talking about. So I think the official Discord is going to be very interesting to monitor at the start. Needless to say, I think it's a good step to pave the way and be a bit more open about communications. Needless to say, I'm curious to see what they will support us, and by us I mean content creators, like as in what are they gonna do? Because so far, I mean, I'm just a small fish, but I haven't heard anything outside that I was accepted into the content creators program. I don't know anything outside of this. So I'm curious to see what we actually will get there, if we actually have some kind of leverage, or if we may function as a funnel or like a link in between official staff members, their moderators, social media staff, or CMs, whatever. I don't really know what their positions are going to be called there, but whoever's going to be managing the community in there, how much of a link we can be as a content creator in order to provide actual feedback to the community, likewise provide feedback from the community in a bit of a more condensed and concise way in order to have Amazon and Smilegate take a look at that. In some games where I played in the past and also worked as a content creator for, where I had these privileges, it worked reasonably well, though not always. So I'm looking at it hopefully, but reserved, because I know that sometimes these content creator programs are pretty much shit. So I do hope that Amazon does not slander it and does not make it useless. So fingers crossed though. Alright, last paragraph. As always, thank you for your support. Be on the lookout for information, details, what our team's behind the scenes, information about closed beta, blah blah blah. Upcoming content will help new players better understand a beautiful, dangerous, and sometimes silly world of Arkesia. I'm not entirely sure what they were hinting there at, but make sure to follow our social media channels and stay up to date. So they pretty much are. The TLDR is we have a closed beta date. We don't really know if there's going to be an open beta, what their entire process is. So while they're giving us breadcrumbs, they're not talking openly about this. I do think though that we just have to wait until this here kicks in. Oh, where is it? Like, this here is probably the most important takeaway here. Once we get the official channels, how active are they going to be? How good is their communication actually going to be? Are they actually going to give us like profound and proper updates, or just like, look, we're working on localization, translation is done, but we still have voice actors to do that stuff? We don't really know, or I don't really know for that matter. There are some people that probably know, They obviously are in charge of that, but they probably can't tell us, or they don't want to tell us. Either way is fine. We, I think, just have to wait until the November period to hit, and then hopefully we'll know more. For all I care, I do hope that we won't get Lost Ark in March next year. I do hope that it's gonna be January. I somewhat don't believe it will be, though. Like, that is if I had to make a guess, I would say February is when we get to play Lost Ark. Needless to say, I do hope it's rather sooner than later. Anyways, that was me rambling on for quite some time. I do hope you got some insights, and you may find it interesting how I take this. I'm obviously not as hyper or as pissed off as Saibo was or is. I am fairly appalled by it, even though it may not show. I'm pretty annoyed by the whole fact that my whole scheduling planning pretty much went out the window. But yeah, that is unfortunately how life is. So I hope you guys can bear with us, and we'll somehow manage to fill the void of time that was now created again until 2022, soon, or early, or whatever it is. Anyways, outside of that, if you want to see me live, I sometimes stream on Twitch, usually only on Mondays and some other days as well, so feel free to check out the link in the description below. Outside of that, I do hope this was, like I said, it probably wasn't entertaining, but at least somewhat informational. Outside of that, I do hope you guys are safe. Do stay safe, do stay healthy. If you want to see me, I just said that. See, this is how this triggers me, actually. If you have any questions or anything, just check the, you know the drill, social media in the description down below here. Outside of that, do stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.